Hello everyone and welcome to another tournament review with PMTT. This time I'm here with Nicole. Nicole, how are you going tonight?
Yeah, really good. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going pretty good myself. Thank you for asking. So I've got Nicole on to talk about the most recent Gauntlet event, Gauntlet Round 5, where Nicole didn't actually get to play because she stepped up and actually ran the event for me. So Queensland has been hit with some absolutely ridiculous rain recently, and the highway that I had planned to go down on wasn't a highway. It was more of a moat. So, luckily, Nicole and her partner Scott down at Irresistible Force Burleigh, where the tournament was, they stepped up and had everything set up. And from all the comments that I've got from people, it was an absolutely fantastic day. So I figured I'd get Nicole on, talk to her about basically being thrown in the deep end and running a tournament. So before we get into what actually happened on the day, how did you get into wargaming?
Well, Henry, like any good partner, when I first met Scott, he introduced me and told me that he was into Warhammer. Mm-hmm. And, being the nice partner, I was like, oh, what's this Warhammer? Do tell me more about it. So he took me to Warhammer World in Nottingham. And,
okay, just not a flex at all there.
Oh, yeah, I know, just like, first date kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he showed me around, and he, rather than get me through like the gaming side of it, I'm very much like a fantasy lore person. So he was explaining to me the lore of each of the factions, this is what Nagash did, this is what Sigma did. So it kind of sunk my claws into me, but didn't think about it for 3 months until he came back to Australia. And then by that point, Scott was like, look, I'm coming to Australia, I'm going to get rid of all my Warhammer, I'm never going to play it again. And then he came and I was like, so that Warhammer thing, do you reckon you could show me a bit more about it?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was 3 years ago, and I've been stuck down the rabbit hole since.
That is a great intro. It ties in perfectly with the blog article that I just published on our website, Partners in Crime, introducing your partner into wargaming. So if you haven't already, go check that out. But it sounds like it's a very similar story. As to what happened with you guys there. So kudos to Scott for knowing you well enough, that knowing to get you in with the lore and not trying to get into competitive or the creative side of you, but just sinking your claws, like you said, into it with that.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. It's something I never thought I'd get into. Like, my brother's been into 40k for several years before that. So I'd kind of seen it and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, Space Marines, not my thing.
Yeah.
But, through the lore, that's how I've sort of gotten into the gaming side of it, the hobby side of it, and now the tournament side of it.
Yeah, it's just the natural progression. So I know you're a long-time player in the scene, like you've been involved in the scene the entire time that I've been involved in it as well.
Only for the last couple of years?
Yeah, I've only been playing AOS for about 2.5 years now, 2 years.
Okay.
Not even that. So I don't hold back. It's all or nothing for me. But I know that you're always been in the scene. So what really drives you at the moment? Like, what keeps you involved in the hobby and in the scene?
It's kind of been changing a lot. So when we first got into Warhammer, we were just playing by ourselves, and then in 2020, at the end of 2019, we said, what's our goal for next year? And we said, let's go to a tournament. So we signed up for the heats at the championship store here, thinking go big or go home.
Yep.
And playing in tournaments has sort of kept me in the hobby for a while. But I've been a long time Nighthaunt player, and sort of lost a little bit of love
that's
from my faction. So sort of started getting more into the painting and the hobbying side. So a lot more recently, I've been enjoying the painting, the building side of it, and trying to get back into the lore. But with my new book coming out this weekend, I am very much ready to get back into gaming, and we'll be joining the rest of the guys at the heats. Is that next week? No, it's...
I think it's 2 weeks away, I think.
Oh, good, because I need some time to get some painting done.
Yeah, no, and that's it. Like, it's fantastic that the whole time I've known you, you've played Nighthawk. Apart from some of the brief times that Scott has browbeaten you into playing his daughters, you've always played the ghosts, and it's great that you've stuck with them long enough. It's now their time in the sun, their time to shine. And you get a pretty new book and it's looking like a really good book from what I've read. So,
look, I won't gush too much about the book. I just think it's a very nice, like, little boost to them without being over the top, and it just keeps into the aesthetics of Nighthaunt. That's what I really love about it. You know, it's the abilities are very Nighthaunt. You know, it's what they would do. They're terrifying. They're the shock troop. So it's reflecting that. So I'm just looking forward to having a lot of fun and just loving all the shenanigans. That's what I'm for.
And they very much seem like they're a shenanigans army from what I've seen so far. So yeah. So you said that you went to the heats, and that was kind of you and Scott kind of decided, cool, we're going to try and go to more tournaments. What other tournaments have you gone to? Has been like any particular ones that have jumped out at you as like these were the absolutely amazing tournaments that you've been to?
It's strange. So after that one, Scott kind of jumped on Facebook and was just like, where are the tournaments? What can I get into? So we did like a couple of like little one-day events at Irresistible Force up in Tanamera. Then there were some other ones in like I think out in Ipswich. Then we found out about like sort of like just little one-dayers like in Toowoomba in Battle Station Bash. And then I think our next big foray was GoldCon 2020, I think it was, the first GoldCon. And that was sort of like my first like big tournament, because Heats was about 20 odd people, so that was still really going from playing with, you know, just against Scott to 20 people was pretty intense. Throw you into a room with nearly 60 people, lost my voice by the end of 2 days, and just had like really memorable moments. But it's more like looking back now, like at GoldCon I met and played Gav for the first time, and he's just such an energetic character. And then meeting Hoops, or Ryan Hooper, sorry. But then, going like Toowoomba Open was another great tournament. Runak's 2-day teams event. Again, completely different like style, and it was just fun going with your team. Shout out to the twats. The Wednesday afternoon tournament society. Nothing sus. But it's hard because it's more. I'm more like the social kind of player. So for me, it's those interactions with other people. Like one Battle Station Bash, I played against Geordie with his beasts, and it was just that intense focus, but we both had very similar armies and similar play styles, so I was learning off him and I was sort of, having fun that way. Whereas, another tournament I was playing against a gentleman who had an IDK army, and I managed to roll 5 6s. So like, I've got a photo of it somewhere. It's like prized possession. But there's like been so many great tournaments run. Brishammer. But I probably will have to say probably Victoria GT. We travelled down there to Victoria, down to Bendigo to play games with the boys. And it's amazing how Australia is a big country, but how different the gaming like atmosphere is down there, and it was just infectious. It was just so much fun. No, I'm in a similar boat. That's like some of my fondest memories about the hobby are when I've gone away with a bunch of mates going down to say CanCon, or like I'm lucky enough that I have been able to travel overseas to play, and those trips are just absolutely amazing. Like you make memories to last a lifetime. It's awesome fun. Just hanging out with people, and like you said, walking to GoldCon for the first time and seeing 60 people in the room going, ooh, all these people are obsessed with the same thing that I'm obsessed with. This is awesome. So, and it's an unforgettable and unbeatable experience in my opinion. So that's you going to tournaments. What experience did you have running tournaments? I thought you knew this beforehand, but zero. So I've sort of been a bit more like support. So when Scott's tried to organise like little one-dayers, or when he ran GoldCon early this year, I was the support person that, you know, helped set up terrain, ran around and, you know, got pizzas or coffees or, you know, I like Excel spreadsheets. So I made sure the spreadsheet was all working, or registered people. So I hadn't really had the experience of running a tournament from start to finish. And yeah, when you asked, I was like, oh, you know, how hard could it be? You know, you set up a couple of tables, you tell people to go when they go. Yeah, a little bit more involved than I thought.
But it is a huge thing. Like, I know all the tournaments that I've run, if I've had like a number two, someone just assisting me is absolutely vital to running a good tournament. So I'm sure if I got Scott back on, he would absolutely gush about how helpful and useful you were at the tournaments that he's running.
I don't know. I don't know if he'd admit to that, but no, he would. But
yeah, well, it's good that the opportunity came up, because I definitely thought that you would be a good person to run one of the Gauntlet events.
Thanks.
Because I definitely think that kind of your outlook on the game and your personality really suits to running a really fun and fantastic event. So onto the event itself. So it was held on the 14th of May down at Irresistible Force Burleigh. So there will be another one down there for the people who were like me and also got rained or flooded out. But there was 15 people there. And from what I've been told by the people who went, everyone had a fantastic time. Which is the best feedback you can possibly get. But let me know, what were some details? What were some of the highlights of the day? Who was making the big plays? Who went down and bounced back? And what happened?
Well, first of all, it was great we had 15 people because, like you said, there was a lot of flooding everywhere. We weren't expecting as many. I was talking to Scott because Scott was my support on the day. I said, "Oh, do you reckon we should set up enough for 20 players?" And he was like, "Nah, we'll probably get 12." So first of all, it was just great that everyone came up. But some of the highlights. So first round, well, overall, it was a really nice spread of armies, which was something you don't get to see very often. I think the only double ups we had was Nighthaunt, and Stormcast. So because we were playing with the obviously old Nighthaunt book, I was a little bit surprised. But you know, repping Nighthaunt, can't be wrong with that. So it was really nice to see a good mix of armies and some that you hadn't seen, like Skaven. I hadn't seen on the table, Gloomspite Gits. So it was nice to see a mix of players. Like you had your more competitive players, like Scott and Patty came, Pat Carter. But you had also some newer players who hadn't played as much, but were just, you could tell they were playing the armies they loved. So it was really nice to see. The models were beautifully done as well. A lot of good painting effort. We had Dylan come in with his Slanesh army, and it was really funny when we were walking in. I was like, "Oh, Dylan, what are you playing?" He's like, "Oh, Slanesh." And I was like, "Oh, you might do all right." And he was like, "Oh, I don't know." So round 2, Slash got up against Doc, which Scott wasn't very happy with. But in the end, they still had a really good game, and which is kind of what I really like about the AOS community, is that, you know, even against like tough opponents, you can still have a really good game. But some other highlights, there was a game between Sam T with his Soul Blight and Ian Robertson and his Gloomspite Gits. I think Ian had to make 8 5-up saves. I think it was a ward save. He rolled 7 6s and a 5. So I was in the other room at the time, and they got called in, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable." Left the table thinking, nothing like that can happen again. Similar situation with, I think 4 dice, rolled 3 6s, and I'm like, "Ian, am I going to have to check your dice here?" It's like, it's looking a bit rough here. But then, yeah, of course, as DICE usually do, abandon him at the end of the game.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, it was surprising how tightly matched most of the games were. I was expecting some armies to just completely lead the pack. Obviously, we know some of the issues with like Stormcast and things like that, but it's still really closely matched games. But yeah, terrible memory. I can't even remember what I did this morning. But I guess that comes down to me as a player. For me, I remember the atmosphere more, and
Yeah.
it was just nice. Like, it was a really chilled atmosphere, and it was really nice to see everyone having a good time. A couple of times I went over to cheer on Chris and Patty, who were playing Night Haunt, and was promptly told to go away because apparently the rolls were turning terrible. But yeah, like, it was just a really good event.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I want to hear, and that's why I'm running all the Gauntlet events, is to definitely try and just promote the good, inclusive community that AOS has. And I know that a lot of people who have come to one or two, they've met a lot of people, or they've met opponents that they haven't ever played before, haven't met before, and then so we're mixing the communities. Like, there's now people all throughout Southeast Queensland and even Northern New South Wales that I can walk up, if I saw them in the street, I would stop them and say hi.
Yeah.
Whereas before, no idea who they are.
Yeah.
But just that one fun game, or that one like fun tournament that they've had a good time at, and it's just building a bigger and better community, which is the intention from the start, which is fantastic. So who took it out? Who was on the podium?
All right, so podium third place was Scott Wyatt. I want to say I'm that partner that was like, someone's sleeping on the couch tonight. But no, Scott came in third. Second, we had Sam Thompson with his Soulblight Gravelords. And coming in first, Pete Horlock with his Nurgle army, which I'm actually super proud of. Actually, all podium members are part of the Twats group that we went to Brunex with. So,
well, watch out, you guys are going to take it out this time. So
yeah, I was going to say, but Pete has been consistently playing with his Night Haunt. Not Night Haunt. My gosh, I got it on my brain. Nurgle recently, and it's just been getting games in every week, repping them, going over and over, and practicing like different battle plans. And it's just a credit to him to sticking with an army, and that consistency and knowing an army inside and out.
Yeah,
can just do so well.
Yeah, and that's it, and it's showing in podium results. Like he took it out. He came to another Gauntlet, I think 2 months ago, and it didn't do that great. He had some bad matchups, some bad dice, and he just kind of went under pretty devastatingly. So to be able to kind of just nose to the grindstone, just games. That's how you get better. You just play games, you practice, and at a certain point it becomes muscle memory, and you know kind of, I'm doing this activation. This is all the stuff that I do, and you don't even have to think about it. So and it's showing that he's going undefeated at events like that. So so that was podium. The other two very hotly contested prizes at a Gauntlet event are Best Painted and Best Sports.
Yes.
Who took them out?
So Best Painted went out to Dave. He had a beautiful Sons of Bayhem army. He also had some extra like scenery pieces to go with it to create almost a semi-display board. Beautifully painted, very thematic. Was pretty much a unanimous vote for him. Probably hotly second contested was Sam Thompson, Sam T, with his Soulblight. Again, another beautifully painted army. But I feel like the painting standard is getting higher and higher for your gauntlets now. Oh,
at the start, so one of the features of the Gauntlet series is you can only win the best painted once. So the idea was that it had annoyed me at a couple of events where I had come in third and second for best painted, and it was the same 2 or 3 guys that were beating me every single time. So I was like, no, I'm sure other people are in the same boat. So you can only win best painted once. And the intention was that all the best, like the top painters in the local area, they win all the awards at the start, and then it kind of opens up, and then more people can be like, oh, I usually come 4th or 5th, and like, oh, I usually only get a couple of votes, I'm suddenly in with a pretty good shot. But it's really not working out like that. Everyone else is kind of going, well, these guys are out of contention, so if I just absolutely smash it out and put in such a high level, I'm in with a chance. And it's like you said, it looks like that standard is just getting higher and higher. So I'm genuinely worried what it's going to look like at the end.
I was going to say finals are going to be a hard call for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of doing a community vote for the top 10 armies, because there'll be 10 people who've won Best Painted with an army. And I'm thinking we'll just have to do a community vote, because I don't want that pressure on myself to have to pick from them. So, and or we might have to get some anonymous judges, but...
I don't know, Henry, it's your turn. You've got to step up and make the decisions.
It's going to be a hard call, and I'm pretty sure whatever call I'd make, I can guarantee people would be able to go, no, you got it wrong because of this, and I'll be like, look, you're right, I probably did get it wrong, so... but
your
that's
tournament, your rules.
Yeah. But that's fantastic to see Dave take that out. Like, his army's on screen at the moment in the bottom left-hand corner, and it is a fantastic army.
It was, I don't know, I just didn't expect such beautiful painted models across the board for everyone. So I was kind of blown away, and actually very glad I didn't have to make a pick.
Yeah, so who walked away with Best Sports? That's the other really hotly contested prize.
So, yes, it was very hotly contested. It came to a draw between Steve and Pat. So, I did the only fair Steve this time. But, again, I don't think anyone's been... everyone's good that comes to these tournaments, but... Yeah. They're both well deserved. So, but went to Steve. Really good guy. Also, another beautifully painted army. Fire Slayers.
Yep, I think we're having some technical difficulties at the moment. Nicole's camera's just being a bit choppy. It looks like she's back now. Okay, excellent, cool. Looks like it's just dropped out again. We'll keep going. We'll try and power through. You're still there, Nicole. Okay, I think we've lost her entirely now. Oh, she might be back now.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, we'll give our combined internets one more chance. Otherwise, I'll have to finish up this interview by myself. So Steve took out the Best Sports, which is a massive. It's always a very hotly contended prize. Usually, no one's kind of gunning for it. It's just everyone is just a genuinely nice person in this community. So that was the event. Fantastic day, from what I've been told. You have told me that it ran all very smoothly. Everyone enjoyed it and had a good time, which is awesome. That's what we want. But this was the first tournament that you had kind of run, and you were kind of the lead person for. So do you have any tips or tricks that you learnt kind of straight out of the gate that you could pass on to people if they're looking to run their own tournaments?
I think the biggest thing I learned from this is that you've got to be organised. You've got to go in with a game plan, and you've got to stick to it. Just making sure you're keeping on top of times, and that you just know how the day's going to run. And another thing too is just know how you're going to do questions like rules. So I didn't have as much confidence coming into this one, because obviously it wasn't my event. But if you're going to run an event, I think just have the confidence in your decisions. Go, cool, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to run it. And that's how you do it. Don't listen to anyone else. You make the call. Yeah, no, and I can definitely second both of those bits of advice. You want to stay on top of time. You want to know how it's going to run. You want to have a game plan for the entire day, because no one enjoys sitting around at the end just waiting for stuff to happen, especially shop owners. No one really appreciates being kept back at their job for an extra half hour because someone wasn't as organised as they could have been.
And the other thing with running events that I found is just confidence. It doesn't matter if you're making a rules call, doesn't matter if you get it wrong. You just need to make the call, you pull the trigger, this is how it's being played, and that's it. As long as you're confident, most of my experience is that no one's going to question it. They might, at the end of the day, you might send them a message and say, hey, having looked into it further, I got it wrong. Sorry about that. But on the day, you make the call, you go with it. So, but
that's all about how you learn and grow, I guess, as a tournament organizer. You know, you've got to make those mistakes and go, oh, okay, cool, I've got to do this better. So keep trying.
Yeah, and as a tournament organizer who is growing, I've heard through the grapevine that you're actually running another slightly larger event. What are some details about that?
Yeah, because I thought, organising an event would be easy. So I thought, go big or go home. I'm going to organise a 2-day event.
Yep.
So for Southeast Queensland, we've had a bit of a gap, in tournaments at the moment. And Scott wanted to play in a 2-day, not organise one. So I said, all right, I will organise one. So we have GoldCon coming up in August. The weekend of the 13th and 14th at the Hinterland Hotel in Narain. We're just still in the process of getting tickets all set up and ready to go, getting helped out with Sigma Central on that one. But hopefully just keep a look on the Facebook page. I'll put updates as to when tickets will be available.
Yeah, excellent. And PMTT is coming on board as an official sponsor as well, so we'll be donating some prize support. And hopefully not having to help out on the day too much, because I'm hoping to play as well. So
no, I'm probably stupidly going to try and do as much as as I can on my own, because I want as many people to take advantage and have a good time. Yeah,
and that's the best thing about tournaments, especially a 2-day tournament. You've got 2 days just hanging out with mates, playing games and having a great time. So the other tournament that I wanted to kind of mention is the next Gauntlet. It's round 6. It's the 19th of June, held up here at Battle Stations in Toowoomba. So the event should be going up shortly, depending on exactly when I get this video out. But definitely come along to it. We're just over halfway through the Gauntlet series, and it's turning into a real race for the top 8. So I think the top couple of people are starting to run away with it a bit, because they're just consistently coming to events. But the bottom 3 or 4 people, there is only a couple of points in it, and they are only slightly ahead of everyone else. So if you've come to an event previously and you can come to another couple, there's a decent chance that you can make it into the finals. So definitely put that in your calendars, as well as GoldCon. The August tournament is actually just just after GoldCon. I think it'll be a nice little palate cleanser after a 2-day tournament. Which will be awesome as well. So definitely check them out. You can find the rest of our events on our events page on our website, and they've got the full events for the year, as well as all the breakdowns of everyone's scores and the armies and factions that are being popular, so you can tweak your list and prepare a bit better. So do you have any shout outs to finish this off?
Oh geez, shout outs. I didn't even think of this one. Let's go with my Wednesday afternoon social team. Congratulations on your podiums for this weekend. Pete, Sam and Scott, shout out to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming on, Nicole, and we'll hopefully be getting you back on, because I might be doing an interview about organising GoldCon, and we can kind of run through people on prepping for a 2-day event. So anyway...
Better get on that then.
Anyway, that's everything from us, so we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.